Gooch of EnhancedAthlete.com, and you're watching Muscle Sport TV.
And welcome to this week's episode of NFL Coast to Coast. I am here, Joe Piatara, being joined on the left coast, Mr. Dave Comerica Muscle Goys. Dave, how's California, bro?
Look, I'm going to tell you how California is. Look what I just got in the mail.
You got? Look, I got one too.
I didn't even tell you yet. This is like unfucking believable.
You just got it? You like it?
Look.
And there is Comerica Muscle article.
I called my wife and told her, and I was in tears because I am that fucking grateful. Thank you. Like, you made a childhood dream come true, Joe. I'm not kidding.
Me? What did I do? You wrote the article.
You put it in the magazine, man. I'm just a nobody, man. I'm just a fucking regular guy from Boston living in Cali.
I'm just a regular guy from Brooklyn.
But you put me in the magazine. Yeah. So I can guarantee you next week on my Superhero Strong episode, it's going to be about this.
Okay.
Already know.
Good. I'm glad. I will be honored. But you made it easier for me by posting a picture, giving me a picture with the lovely Denise Messino.
She's my goddess.
We will see her out in Las Vegas, Dave.
Yeah. My wife knows I love her.
Jupiter Meach is on. Jupiter, we're not doing the Jets this week. That would be next week. We're going to be doing the AFC East. Calling Comerica. Oh, don't be. It's all right, bro. We're all good. We're all having fun, but we are going to start with our football program right now, Dave. NFC South last week, obviously, we did the East and the North. South, of course, we must start with the defending conference champion, Atlanta Falcons, 11-5 a year ago, 28-3 lead, second half in the Super Bowl, only to be bit in the ass by the Brady and Belichick two-headed monster. Do they recover from this?
Absolutely.
Good. I'm glad.
They have a very high offense. I absolutely guarantee you they will be in the playoffs. Don't know if they'll go all the way, but they will recover just fine.
I agree. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to win this division again. Obviously, that's a tough. I mean, a lot of teams have Super Bowl hangovers. Their division mates, the Carolina Panthers, a perfect, most recent example. Of having a really bad season after being in the Super Bowl. But when you have an offense that includes Matty Ice, Devontae Freeman, and Julio Jones, you're going to win a lot of games because you're going to score a lot of points. So I do like their offense, obviously. Ryan, MVP last year. So the guy is, he's been all that and more since he's been picked. But there is a first-round pick, defensive end, Tack McKinley. His name keeps popping up when I was doing my research on the Dirty Birds. Remember the Dirty Bird dance?
Yeah. What do you got on him? What's your take on him?
Well, he had his first action in the second preseason game. They're saying that they want this guy to obviously the first-round pick, late in the first round. They want him to do stuff, but obviously there's a lot of question marks because he's had injuries and stuff. So what did you get on the Tack with 2 Ks? Interesting name. We got a lot of great names out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I did a lot of research on a lot of people, and they got some weird-ass names. But what I see a lot of potential, but I do worry about the injuries, especially being so young and being, just drafted and being put in the league like that. Having that big cloud over you is he's going to have a lot to prove this season. If he has a breakout season, that's awesome.
Yeah, rookies always, though, you got to kind of – sometimes you bring him along slowly, especially with a team that's as strong as Atlanta is. You don't have to rush the rookies. But also, third-round pick linebacker Duke Riley, another kind of tough guy name. They're pushing this guy to try to win a starting job in their on their defense, obviously. But they said the biggest area of competition on this roster right now is at cornerback. They got 9 guys in camp right now. Most of them are just competing for the 4th and 5th spot because they got 2 guys that are really good, Desmond Trufant and Robert Alford, who are starters right now. So these are going to be more the nickel and dime guys and your special teams guys. But 9 corners in camp. That's a lot in one spot. So obviously
That
they're
is,
not happy with the backups in that place.
but that's also going to create enough competitive juices in that all those guys are going to be putting out their best foot forward.
Yes, definitely. But I think both of us feel that the Atlanta Falcons are, they're gonna be good. Depending on the rest of the conference, depends on the playoffs. I don't see them going far in the playoffs, though. I think Super Bowl hangover won't affect their regular season, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to win those games like they did last year against the Green Bay Packers type of team.
Especially now that you got Kyle Shanahan moving over to San Fran. So
Big
there's your
loss.
offensive coordinator right there, too. That is a big difference. So now they ended up getting Steve Sarkisian. I think I'm saying his name right.
Sarkisian?
Yeah, Sarkisian. Thank you.
From
That's
the college
fucking
ranks.
accent of mine. But you got him up there. But the only thing I think is really good with having him is he's going to incorporate the tight ends a lot more, which Atlanta doesn't really do because they focus in a lot on the wide receiver.
Sure. Well, they got Jones, so they stretch the field. Who
Exactly.
you think will beat the Falcons, Stellar is saying. You know what? I don't know. I really feel strong about the Packers this year. I think we both kind of felt that last week. We were doing the preview on the North. So I don't know. I haven't actually looked over everything and said my Super Bowl pick, which I hate those fucking things. They're kind of fucking lame. But I guess I would have to say if Atlanta plays Green Bay again this year, I think it would be in Green Bay, and Atlanta's not coming out of there with a W. Last year they played in the Dome. Atlanta had the home last year. So that's what I think. Atlanta's going to do well. They're not going to get a bye. I don't think they're going to have that type of record to get a bye in the first round. They may get past the first round, but I think when it comes to divisional, I think they'll kind of be out. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading at the
Oh,
same
yeah, no, I'm
time.
sorry. Yeah. So, all right. So,
I
think we can move on from the Falcons. Then we move to an interesting team that's on Hard Knocks. I haven't had the chance to watch any episodes yet. Very disappointed in myself because I'm a huge Hard Knocks fan. Tampa Bay last year, 9-7. Jameis Winston, they said he's looking really, really good in camp compared to last year to this year.
Yeah,
really
that's
sharp.
what I do.
Number one pick. I never was a huge Winston fan, but I think I was wrong because this guy looks like he's got all the tools right now, Dave.
Almost 4,100 yards and 28 touchdowns. So, I mean, he's doing something right. And he doesn't really have that big of a squad to back him up. Now that they got Deshaun Jackson in there, it's going to make things very interesting.
Yeah, that obviously a good pickup for them, veteran wideout like that. But obviously, when you have on the other side of Jackson, Mike Evans, they're returning, star wideout, really, really good, tandem right there. Nice pickup with Jackson. He doesn't have to, be the number one guy. He's a little older now. He's bounced around, Philly, Washington, now here. It's a great spot, I think, for a guy like Jackson because he won't get double teamed. Evans will be seeing that safety, and Jackson will be single coverage. Will definitely find some holes. The thing that I think that's going to really hurt on their offense is going to be at running back.
I totally agree. You only have Doug Martin, and he's the one they're going to be ganging up on. Then other than that, you got Jacquizz Rodgers and Charles Sims that's going to be playing second fiddle to him. So I don't see that power rush, and I don't see that speed in there. So they really need to open up that running game in order to allow that passing game to go through. Which again, Deshaun Jackson is great for because his speed is gonna complement Evans perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Evans can stretch the field. Jackson's he can get a slot pass kind of thing. He'll be on the outside. He won't be in the slot, but he can definitely run those type of patterns because he has that cutting speed. But Martin last year, 2.9 average, only played in 8 games, and he's going to be suspended for the first 3 games of the season. So that is a huge hole. I think Tampa is another team. Like we were speaking last week, there was a few teams that were in running back situation. Paul Guy, fucking Mason.
A lot.
Another team like Tampa, another guy like I said, mentioned Matt Forte last week. A guy like that, they should be looking to try to make some kind of deal with the Jets and give them like a 6 for him. And I think they would probably get a good offer accepted. Another weapon for Winston, 19th overall pick in the first round, tight end O.J. Howard. Nice
He's
pick
looking
for them.
like a beast.
Yes, nice pick. And he was the top tight end in the draft. The Giants got Ingram. He was the second best tight end, people were saying. So it looks like, although they're going to be thin in the backfield, Tampa should have enough weapons, and somebody has to hopefully step up that's going to be taking Martin's place in those first 3 games, or if he gets hurt again. If they can get some kind of running back, I think they will have a very potent offense with Winston leading the charge.
Yeah, he's got solid ass hands to begin with. He can catch a ball with no problems, and he can block.
Yeah,
he's well worth the first round pick. This guy.
Yeah, definitely. And on the other side of the ball for Tampa, Robert Ayers. This guy, he just hear a lot about him. And I had the pleasure of seeing him in New York with the Giants. This guy just makes plays every time he's with. I think it was with Dallas before. I forget who he was with, but the Giants got him. He had 9.5 sacks in 2015. Goes to the Bucks. It was a free agent. He only played in 12 games, 10 of them starts. So he only started 10 games. He had 6.5 sacks last year in Tampa. That's the kind of guy that could really make some fucking huge numbers if he starts 16 games. A guy like that on defensive end.
Yeah, he'll do really good over in Tampa. I mean, he's been there anyway. But keeping that defense is good. He needs to make up a lot of plays because he's pretty much not a lot. Tampa Bay don't have a solid line, in my opinion. You could score on them very well, but they're more offensive oriented than defensive.
Yeah. Inside defensive tackle, Gerald McCoy had 7 sacks last year. So they do have the ability to get to the quarterback. But they have to be able to stop the run and defend the pass, obviously. Pass rush is great, but if the guy can get rid of the ball quick, 3-step drop, you can make some big plays against Tampa. But Tampa 9-7 last year. I'm going to kind of say I see more of the same.
Yeah, me too. Weak league, weak division.
Weak division, but do you think they step up and win 10 and fight for a playoff spot? I personally don't.
No. Honestly, I think it would be between Atlanta and New Orleans when it comes to playoff spots in that division.
Ooh, interesting that you segued to the New Orleans Saints. I don't know. I like when we disagree because it makes it more fun. It's too fun if we go, yeah, me too. I like that guy. I like that team. I don't see the Saints as being a playoff contender.
Oh, my God, with Drew Brees?
Okay. Listen, I love Drew Brees. The guy is an automatic every fucking game, every fucking year. I just don't see them. Their offensive line and their defense is very questionable. Both of those areas.
There's certain teams that can get away with having a shitty defense as long as that offense is high-powered. Now that they have the addition of Adrian Peterson to complement Mark Ingram, that's crazy. Adrian Peterson isn't going to be heavily guarded, neither is Mark Ingram. There's so much potential. I say New Orleans, man.
Wow, I love it. I think it's great. Listen, I enjoy the Saints. I was very happy when they won the Super Bowl that year. It was a great story with Katrina and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Breeze, I obviously was always a fan of his. He was really good in San Diego. Circumstances, they got Rivers. He blew his shoulder out, so they didn't want to re-sign him. And he goes to New Orleans and he brings back a fucking ring to that city, which is great. But they're a shootout team, and those type of teams to me don't win the big games. The 45 to 42 games don't happen in the playoffs.
See, this is where I disagree. Oakland did not have the most solid defense last year, but their offense power was good. Yes. They went very far until Carr got nailed and busted.
Yeah.
So I definitely see high-powered offenses going very far, but at the end all, it's a well-balanced team with a good, solid defense that ends up winning a Super Bowl.
See, to me, I think ball control and strong defense. I still have that Parcells mentality, and although New England doesn't subscribe to that theory 100% because they can score like that. They can score in 3 plays. They're fucking gone 80 yards. They still have that type somewhat, because Belichick's from the Parcells tree, obviously, defensive coordinator, and they still kind of subscribe to that theory in a certain way, but have enough of weapons where they can score really quick and give up a long drive and still come back and score. But you mentioned Ingram and Peterson. Ingram's good. He had 1,000 yards last year. I think Adrian Peterson, he's going to be a shadow of his former self.
Another we're going to disagree.
Oh, great. This is what makes this shit fucking fun, bro.
Peterson is fucking God on legs when it comes to running back. This dude just defies the odds. He's going to complement Ingram so well. Neither of them, who are you going to block? Who are you concentrating on, Ingram or Peterson?
See, I don't think they're going to be on the field together. I don't think they're going to be on the. I think they're going to be, they're going to be swapping, where Ingram's going to be on the field twice as many carries, plays as Peterson. I think they're going to bring Peterson very conservatively into the games. I don't think he's going to get a lot of touches. He actually is very good catching the ball out of the backfield. So I think you're going to see Peterson almost in this stage of his career transform from the number one running back, 25 carries a game, to more of a third down guy, where he swings out of the backfield.
Personal bet between you and me, $10 by the end of the season. Peterson has more yards than Ingram.
How much?
$10. I'm a cheap ass.
Oh, okay. All right, you're on. You heard it here first, guys. It's Scumbag Sports Center. Mason rules. All right, so Peterson and Ingram, we're going to see. Another guy that the Saints picked up, Manti Te'o. I don't know what to make of this guy. He had so much promise coming out of Notre Dame.
Yeah. I have no opinion when it comes to Manti Te'o, except for I like his name. It's fun to say.
It's a cool name, yeah. He was fun to watch in college, man. And he shows flashes with the Chargers. He showed flashes, but he had some injuries, and obviously they didn't make that that option offer on him, and they let him walk. But only played in 3 games last year with San Diego. So I don't know. To me, I think bringing in guys like Peterson and Te'o, not desperation. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, football, you do that. You take flyers on guys that are veterans, and then if they don't pan out, they're one and done. Usually, they usually don't have any guaranteed money on guys like this. So, to me, Te'o is a guy that he's not going to start for this team. He'll be out there for X amount of plays a game if he's healthy, and maybe they'll get some kind of contribution out of this fucking guy.
He'll be on the bench with his imaginary girlfriend, so I'm not worried.
She was hot, though, the picture of that one, right? Whoever that girl was, But Michael Thomas, wideout. This guy is ready to take the number 1 spot. And obviously with a guy like Breeze, it's he's got a great chance for doing that. But he had a great season last year. 92 catches, over 1,100 yards, and 9 touchdowns in 2016. So although they made a big trade with Brandon Cooks, because that's another big loss for them, Brandon Cooks. But I think Thomas, they won't miss a beat with that. Because even though they had 2 good wideouts, I think Thomas will do the right thing, and this team will have enough firepower in the air with him.
Yeah, and Colby Fleener, too. He'll pick up a lot of slack. He's a good tight end.
Yeah, Fleener is definitely good at tight end. But Cooks, they trade him to the Pats with a 4th-round pick for a number 1 and a number 3. This guy had 78 catches, 1,100 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Very similar numbers to Thomas last year. Yep. But that's a trade you got to make. Even though it's a New England number 1, which is basically a 2nd-round pick. It's the last pick of the draft. You get a 1 and those 3s are so valuable. Those mid-round 3, 4, and 5s are huge, because you can get a really good player and he won't command a lot of money salary-wise. So those are picks that if you get a chance to get a pick like that, you got to make that trade. Yeah, so I don't blame the Saints for making that deal.
Excellent one. They got Ted Ginn Jr., Willie Snead. The good thing about Breeze is he spreads that ball. He spreads it between the wideouts like it's no tomorrow. So anybody could step up between any kind of game.
Drew Brees, 5,208 yards last year. At
30,
he's 38 now, right? So
38, yeah, okay.
Right? So last year he was 37.
1.7 passing rating.
It's insane, bro. The guy is a fucking, and he's small.
Yeah.
He gets blasted, gets right up, throws a fucking third down fucking slant pass for first down. So, yeah, definitely when you have Drew Brees there, there's always a chance that you're going to have a good season. They were 7-9. They weren't terrible last year. They were mediocre. But they definitely addressed this weak defense in the draft. Marcus Lattimore, cornerback, was picked 11th. The guy was very highly scouted, and people had a lot of good things to say about Marcus Lattimore. And then in the second round, they pick a safety named Marcus Williams. So they saw where their weaknesses lie, and they addressed them in the draft at least.
And like we said earlier, the offense is going to get you far, but you need to balance out that defense. If you don't balance out that defense, it's not going to bring you all the way.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But see, the problem is with their line, right? We mentioned their offensive line is banged up. Left tackle, which is your most important spot, and center too. So people overlook the center quarterback exchange. I think a center is huge, but left tackle Teron Armstead, he's out for the season, possibly shoulder surgery. Max Unger, their center, who's a really good center. He's been around for a long time. He had foot surgery. They're hoping to get him back by week 1, and they drafted with the New England pick, the first round, 32nd pick, a tackle named Ryan Ramczyk. So good draft by the Saints because they picked the lineman and two, guys in the secondary. So they're definitely addressing weak spots, and depending on, if their line can get healthy, you might be right with the division pick.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious now. After talking about this division, we still got Carolina. So do you see as Carolina is the one that's going to be battling Atlanta for that conference?
I think they're going to be battling them, but I don't think it's going to be a close battle. I think Carolina is the type of team that I don't know. Will the real Carolina Panthers please stand up?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl team or 6-10 last year, and it all lies on Cam. If Cam Newton has a solid year like he did 2 years ago, they make the Super Bowl type of team. Last year, the wheels came off on this team. Even though Cam wasn't hurt, he was banged up a little bit. He had off-season surgery, a partially torn rotator cuff, and they're holding him out of the preseason. So will he be rusty? I don't think preseason's that big of a deal.
No, they usually hold out a lot of them starters off on preseason. They'll just do a couple snaps and then they sit and bench.
Yeah.
The good thing about having Cam, he was good with his legs, but now they just picked up Christian McCaffrey, the rookie.
Yeah.
First round, 8th pick.
You think it's a reach? Is that a reach for him, or is he worthy?
He's good.
He's good. But where is he?
He's good, man. He's going to help Jonathan Stewart so much, and you're not going to have to rely on Cam Newton using his legs a little more. Maybe get back into the old Drew Bledsoe sit in the pocket type of shit.
Yeah, but to me, they're a much more potent team when Cam is allowed to do what he can do. But that's how he gets hurt a lot. It's a double-edged sword.
Exactly.
It seems like the NFL is trying to get away from that RG3, Kaepernick, that pistol.
We only had a couple of seasons of that.
Yeah.
If you look at the history, there's only been a couple of seasons that we have some quarterbacks that were very mobile on their feet.
Yeah.
And injuries started happening. And then look what happened to them.
Yeah. RG3's not even on with a team now. He's a free agent. Neither
is Kaepernick.
Yeah,
so that's a whole different story.
Different reasons, probably, Kaepernick, because he's more of a thrower than he is a. RG3 is more with the pistol. Kaepernick can fucking wing that ball on the move. He's got a hell of an arm. But Cam Newton, what did he have last year? Okay, so you look at his numbers in 2015 when they made the Super Bowl. He had 3,800 yards. Last year, 35.
Yep. Not a big deal.
No, to me, that's one and the same. But when you look at his numbers now, touchdowns, interceptions, 35-10 when they lost to Denver in the Super Bowl. Last year, 19-14. Big difference. 35 to 19 scoring passes.
Yeah.
That's the
And,
story right there.
His rating showed it too. He's at 75.8.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely took a decline. So you said it in the beginning, will the real Panthers stand up?
Yeah.
So
who are they?
is he going to stay in a slump, or is he going to bounce back from it and just perform like he could do? His ability and his talent is there.
Oh, he's fucking one of the best quarterbacks in the league when he's, on and healthy and all of that. I mean, he makes it. He's a fun guy to watch. I mean, he's great on interviews, and he does a lot of commercials and stuff. He's a great guy for the NFL wants Cam Newton to succeed. Obviously, he's good for the league. He's great with the fans. He's got a great smile. I mean, he's he's athletic.
He's a poster boy.
Exactly. He's very poster boy looking, and so and a lot of these these plays that he does, he gets hurt because even though he's big, he likes to run. He's more effective that way. I think if you try to corral him and make him a pocket passer, it's not going to be the same thing. I don't know. He does, and plus, I don't know, the weapons there. I mean,
that's what I wanted to talk. That's what I was just going to say to you. He really don't have a lot of weapons besides Kelvin Benjamin. He's got Greg Olsen sitting there in tight end, but then you got the rookie Curtis Samuel. He's good on paper, but he hasn't done anything yet, so I can't really throw an opinion about him. So who are you looking at? You looking at Kelvin Benjamin?
Yeah, they don't have big offensive weapons. Obviously, that's why they went with McCaffrey. Where do they play him? Is he a wide receiver, a running back, a little of both? A lot of times they say when you don't have one position, you don't have any position. If I were them, I would slot receiver him. Stewart's good. You mentioned Stewart's been around for 10 years, 9 TDs last year, 800 yards. So to me, they have a good running back. I would have McCaffrey slot, or I would have him catching screen passes with tight end blocking on the same side of the line. And you try to free him. You try to spring this guy and see if you can cut it back and go against the grain, and boom.
Now that we just talked about the NFC South, give me your 1, 2, 3, 4 on that.
Oh, my 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so obviously I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Carolina, which I think they'll be 9-7, tied with Tampa. So depending on their head-to-head, or divisional record, who might finish second or third, I'll say Carolina, Tampa, and I have New Orleans in last.
Wow,
it's so fucking different from you, bro. It's wild.
We are so different. I have Atlanta, I have New Orleans, followed by Tampa Bay, and then Carolina last. I don't have them as second.
All right, we're gonna have to remember this. I got kicked off ESPN for calling Pam Oliver a cunt. Mason Ortiz says, I find her cute. I think she's sexy. I like that little short hair on her. We would be amiss if we didn't mention middle linebacker Luke Kuechly. Over 100 tackles in 10 games last year, Dave. This guy's a fucking animal out there.
Yeah.
He just
Carolina
gets hurt.
did have a good defense.
Yeah. He gets hurt. I have an original Barry Sanders jersey from 25 years ago. Does that count? Yes, Crystal. Wow, an original Barry Sanders jersey. That is very cool. One of the greatest running backs of all fucking time. All right, so I think we're good with that division, dude. That's going to be very interesting. We're going to have to keep these notes so we can look at them in beginning of January and see how fucking wrong we both were. Probably the fucking Tampa will win the division.
What? Oh my, yeah, really. Jameson Winston has like a breakout season, and he makes everybody look silly. Ends up with more touchdowns and passing yards than Drew Brees or some shit. Really blow me away.
He'll become like the new poster boy.
Yeah. Cam who?
Yeah, Cam. Oh, he got hurt in week 4, right? NFC West. Now, this is a division that, wow, it's almost like if you have a halfway decent season, you're going to win this division. You don't need to have 12 wins to win this division. You don't need to run away with it. You can. I mean, last year, the Seahawks won it with 10 wins, 10-5, and that elusive tie with the Cardinals. So they were 10-5-1 last year. Obviously, the Quest, 7-1 at home, the 12th man, of course, and then 3-4-1 on the road. So they were 500 on the road for all intents and purposes, which, similar to what I said about the Giants, if you win, 7 games at home and you 500 on the road, you're fucking sitting pretty.
Yeah.
Hence, the Seahawks win with 10 wins when their division Giants had the 11th win instead of the tie.
Well, last season they had San Fran that had an absolutely complete shitbag of a season, and then you had the Rams that had another shitbag of a season. That was Seattle just ran with that one.
You got to win. You got to sweep those 4 games with those 2 weak sisters in your division. So, no doubt about that. But they bring in Eddie Lacy because last year they didn't have your boy who went to the Raiders now, the running back, right? So fucking you lose that guy, and they didn't really replace him last year. So they bring in Eddie Lacy on a 1-year deal. We'll see what happens with that. But they have some trouble on their offensive line. George Fant, right? He gets his knee banged up, tackle. He gets hurt. They make a deal for Matt Tobin from the Eagles, and they sign a free agent, Tyrus Thompson. So they bring in 2 guys to try to replace one. And they're shopping Richard Sherman in the offseason, who was their one of the all-time favorites. Yeah, I mean, he was, I know he's been slowing down a little bit statistically, but he still brings a lot of fire and intensity. I mean, you got to love Richard Sherman. He just plays with such balls, balls to the wall. But what do you think with this team? I mean, and also, I have another note. They bring in former overall number 2 pick, Luke Jokiel from the Jaguars. He only played in 5 games last year. So it looks like they're piecemealing a line that might be an Achilles heel all season for the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm not very fired up about Seattle, like anything about this team whatsoever. But, I mean, unless they really utilize Jimmy Graham and Eddie Lacy, I really don't see much about it. They got Marcel Reese going in there, and you got Doug Baldwin. He's always, he's good.
Yeah.
But there's really there's nothing that stands out to me like, okay, you're going to have to double coverage this guy.
No. I mean, I think Russell Wilson is just so effective running out of the backfield that you got to kind of leave a spy on him. I mean, he's not like Cam Newton or RG3 type of running, but could hurt you. If you got 3rd and 8, he'll get that 8 yards if he really puts his hat down.
Yeah, absolutely. So if something was to happen to Russell, they got Trevon Boykin and Austin Davis. Who do you think they're running with? Davis?
Who the fuck? They're fucked if that happens. It doesn't matter.
That's not, Davis isn't that bad. He's like 80.4.
Wasn't he the guy on the Rams at one time?
Yeah.
Okay, I know who you mean now. Yeah.
He wasn't bad at all. He had like 80.4 on his ratings. 2,548 yards and 13 touchdowns. So I see him as a viable, but he's definitely not a running quarterback.
No.
So that defense is going to have to stick up for him.
Yeah. I remember, now that you mentioned that guy, I remember him on at the St. Louis at the time. I mean, Seattle, they're always going to, they got a great coach. I mean, Pete Carroll is just very good at what he does. He's an annoying guy. A lot of people can't stand him. Opponents don't like him, but his team loves playing for him. And when you got a guy that people want to play their balls off for, they go that extra mile, and those things make up. At the end of 60 minutes, those things all added together can bring you 7 to 10 points, and that's the difference in a lot of games.
I like Pete Carroll. I've even liked Pete Carroll when he was the coach for New England. What fucked me up was when he just did not give that goddamn ball to Marshawn Lynch on the 1 yard. That was it.
Yeah, that was obviously
in retrospect.
In retrospect, it was a big difference. But I don't know. I mean, I was surprised, obviously, watching it live. But he's just been he was great in college. I mean, USC, he was fucking really good. He was a great defensive coordinator on the early '90s Jets coaching staff. That's where he first started. People started to know who he was, and then he went to New England. He went to San Fran as a defensive coordinator, went to New England, but under Bruce Coslett on the Jets in the early '90s, this guy was good. I mean, he had them buzzing on it. He had some great plays. So I've always liked Pete Carroll since then, being a Jet guy. I always was high on him, so I like seeing him succeed. I mean, Seattle's kind of an easy team to root for. They kind of, the home game. You watch a game from there. It's a lot of fun. It's a cool place to watch a game. But the thing with them is they still have their core on defense. Legion of Boom is getting older, but, football old, not, me old. 29, 27, 29, and 28. Those are their 4 starting secondary guys: Sherman, Lane, Cam Chancellor, and Earl Thomas. So when you see guys like that, they're obviously in a win-now mode because they know that some of these guys are getting older. But how do you feel about the Legion of Boom? You think they got a step left still?
No, I do, because they're very passionate about that team. So you have a core group like that is all about Seattle. That's gonna rub off on a lot of them rookies, which is exactly what they need.
Yeah.
So I actually do like the Legion of Boom. I'm not high on the team itself, just the whole 12th man thing, and I just don't like the fans personally, but that's
Really?
just me.
I find them interesting. I think they're cool.
They remind me of a certain troll that we have that just keeps just running his talk stuff. Just like, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's how I think of the 12th man.
I think I know who you mean. Hi, Dave.
That's open-ended. That's open-ended. Take it for what it's worth.
Well, so you got to remember, you're a Raider fan. So any fans after the black hole are fucking posers. You guys have the best fans in fucking sports. Not just the NFL. So, that Fireman Ed ain't got nothing on the fucking black hole fucking guy. I mean, come on.
No.
But Seattle, Michael Bennett, he's been with them for 4 years, 30.5 sacks over that time, defensive end. Veteran guy who just fucking plays his fucking ass off. So those are the kind of guys, like you said, the veterans that are showing the next wave coming into Seattle. I mean, I feel Seattle is going to have a similar season, 10, 11 wins, and I think they win the division again. What do you think, Dave?
In the whole division? You know what? This is going to pain me to say, and this is only because it's 2 games in, it's preseason. I'm really high on the Rams right now.
Really? Oh, wow.
And I'm not a Ram fan whatsoever.
No, you're not. Yeah,
I can't believe I'm saying that. So that you can ask. But I am liking the Rams from what I'm seeing right now. But again, it's a preseason. I've seen Oakland go 0-4 and then go almost into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So it's preseason. Get me in week 5 and ask me what I think about the Rams. It could be completely different.
Yeah.
As far as Seattle goes, though, that defense is definitely the one that's going to have to step up because I don't see a lot of offensive weapons on their way.
Yeah.
So, we'll end it with that. I like their defense right now.
I do too. I think they're in the right division, obviously, because there's not a lot of firepower there. They're going to be weak in the backfield. They're going to be weak on the offensive line. They have a very, very good quarterback. They have a good tight end, and their defense is going to be their main thing, which kind of is a Pete Carroll kind of staple, if you will. So I think they do well there. But I have a funny stat. You said in the preseason doesn't mean anything. In 1992, the Jets went 5-0 in the preseason. They played the Hall of Fame game, so they had an extra game. With Browning Nagel was their second-round draft pick. They had him starting quarterback. It picked him 2 years earlier. They won 4-12 that year. So they won more games in the preseason than they did in the regular season.
That's what I'm saying. Like, preseason, there's so much shit, little minute details, like playing a game of chess. Here's a pawn here and here's a pawn there. But it doesn't really matter until the games start. So when me and you go off, when we start getting in week 3 and 4, oh, forget it. Then you're going to see all the stars shining. Yeah. We're going to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. But right now, as you sit here, you think the Rams are going to beat out the Seattle Seahawks?
Going by preseason?
No, just going by, just your guesstimate on the whole season.
If the Rams can stay the way they're playing right now, I do.
All right. I think that's interesting. I'm taking the easy pick here. I'm picking the fucking Seahawks. I mean, I'm not going out on a fucking limb.
Pick Patriots to win the Super Bowl while you're at it.
I am. I think I hate to say it, but I think that the cocksuckers. I hate the fucking Pats. Did you hear about Dallas? Yes, but we'll do an NFL show today, Mr. Johnson. Tomorrow will be AMA. We can talk all about Dallas McCarver and all of that other bodybuilding stuff, but we have to concentrate on the gridiron today. So, all right, I think we're good. I think we covered them. I'm going to go, like I said, I go by last year's record for putting these teams how I announced them. It doesn't mean this is the way I'm picking them to finish now. The Cardinals, 7-8-1. Another really cool place to watch a ball game in. Even though I don't like domes, but it is a cool stadium. Carson Palmer. This guy's getting old, but he had a really good year last year. 37, and he had 4,200 yards, 26 TDs, 14 picks last year. He's had some injuries over his career. Obviously, he was with the Bengals. He blew his knee out in that playoff game against Pittsburgh, and he's had problems even with Arizona. He's missed time. What do you think about Carson Palmer?
I like Carson Palmer. 87.2 rating. That's pretty damn good. That's better than a lot of the people that you can stay out there. Like you said, 4,233 yards, 26 TDs. He's not a slouch.
No, not at all.
He's got some good he has some pretty good weapons. I'm looking at it on paper.
Yeah, he's got some weapons.
He's got it, and they do have some good backups too. Drew Stanton just beat out Blaine Gibbert for the backup role, so I'm high on Drew Stanton too. So we'll see where that goes. Carson Palmer, I don't worry about quarterbacks' ages. There's certain quarterbacks that they get older and they kind of get better with age, like wine.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I kind of lean that way with Palmer. But I do see this as actually probably most likely almost guaranteed being his last season.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, Palmer's always been, I wouldn't say an enigma. I think he's proven himself more than an enigma type of label. He's never reached his full potential. I mean, this guy was picked really high in the draft. They thought he was going to be like one of the best guys, but he has not disappointed. Don't get me wrong. He's played very well for Arians in Arizona. I think he's going to have another good year. He might miss a few games, but like you said, they do have decent guys behind him where they can plug a guy in like that. I mean, Gabbert started a few games last year. He started for years with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Drew Stanton's been around a lot of teams. He's had spot starts in a lot of different cities. Bears or Cardinals for Super Bowl champions. Mr. Johnson, I think you got fucking kneed in the head by S&M fucking broad. Cardinals, maybe. I mean, I'm not going to say Super Bowl, but I'm saying they're going to be a decent team. I think the Cardinals can go 9-7. I think they hang around the division, but the cream will rise to the top by the end of the day, and they'll win it. But you said firepower. Obviously, Larry Fitzgerald tops that list. This guy's a fucking massive offensive juggernaut. Over 100 catches, over 1,000 yards, and he had 6 scores. David Johnson last year, the running back, 293 carries. That's a lot of carries, 1,200 yards, 4.2 average, and 16 TDs. You got to like that coming out of your backfield. They have Chris Johnson as their backup.
And Andre Ellington.
Yeah, so they do have some decent guys on that offensive side of the ball.
What the hell happened to Chris Johnson?
He got older. His knees banged up. I mean,
good man.